When you think of wildlife photography, Luxembourg probably isn't the first place that comes to mind. It may be a small country, but hidden in its forests and valleys is a world most people never see. And in this video, I'm exploring it with a local wildlife photographer friend of mine. Amazing.
Fantastic.
Toll.
Oh my God.
Getting invited to Luxembourg by my friend Martine was already special. But the fact that she took a whole day off to share her passion for wildlife photography with me made this trip even more memorable. And our adventure began early in the morning at a spot that turned out to be the perfect introduction to the day ahead. An eagle-owl nest located far away on a cliff. Aww. Alright, so the first spot was a success already. We found the eagle owl, and now we're heading back to the car and we're driving to the next spot. The eagle owl was just a small appetizer to start the day, so we headed into the forest and began hiking along a river. We found our first bird of prey. There's a common crestal up on that. What is that, a chimney?
It's a chimney, yeah. There used to be lots of industrial action down here and mills next to the river. It's a little male. Oh, there he goes. Yeah, he's just sitting in that tree.
Martine had recently bought something very special and we got to try it out for the first time.
So this is a new toy that I got recently. It's a thermal monocular and it picks up the heat signature of animals. So anything that's probably hiding in between branches or in the bushes. Nothing guaranteed, but maybe we will pick something up that normally we wouldn't have spotted otherwise.
Suddenly we heard something that suspiciously sounded like a bird nest. Right next to the river, we discovered a tree with a few holes in it. We had found a starling nest.
Ja, da oben ist das Nest, ne?
Ja. Ja, da sind so ein paar Löcher, ne?
Aha.
Over there, in that tree, there are actually a couple of holes.
Yeah.
And
Cavities, tree cavities.
Tree cavities, and there are a couple of starlings that are actually nesting there. And with the thermal monocular, Martina was even able to capture the heat coming from the nest. After watching the nest for a while, we finally decided to move on, since we still had a lot planned for the day. For a while, we were practically surrounded by blackcaps, but they were so quick that it was really difficult to get decent photos.
Yellow wax.
As we reached a more open part of the river, you can't really blame us for getting distracted by the mallard ducklings. Once our hearts were full of cuteness, we continued to a place where grey herons were nesting high up in the trees.
I think it's actually fascinating that such big birds that are usually so close to the ground and to the water are nesting that high up in the trees.
And while Martina kept an eye on the birds in the sky, I noticed small movements on the ground. Our route even turned into a bit of a scenic tour as we walked along the Alzette River past Neumünster Abbey, following the old medieval fortress walls.
Viel alt und neu direkt daneben. Ne?
Ja, gibt einen Grund, warum es Luxembourg heißt. Ne?
Ja, und ich bin auch immer wieder fasziniert davon selbst. Ich bin zwar hier groß geworden, aber sie sind einfach so schön. Ja, warum nicht? Kann ja immer mal versuchen, ne?
At midday, we drove to the southeast of Luxembourg to visit our next location.
Okay, we arrived at the second spot. Second, third.
We had a few, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We arrived at the next spot.
The afternoon spot.
The afternoon spot.
This place is called Haff Réimech. It's a nature reserve with artificial lakes that have been arranged in a way that promotes wildlife, etc. And every time I come here, there's just so much going on. We'll see what we'll find. I mean, you always get surprises in this place.
Yeah, we already saw a couple of long-tailed tits and a couple of turns right at the beginning.
Oh, there is one.
There's one right there.
Yeah, you see it flitting about.
We'll see what we can find, and I'm going to take you guys along with us.
But we just heard a cuckoo. I can't say I've ever heard one here before.
Somewhere over there.
It's we can see.
Probably in a place we can't go.
Not necessarily.
In the first observation height, we were able to observe the birds relatively closely, and I especially liked the terns. We're in an observation hut right now, and in the distance we spotted a coot with babies.
It's actually feeding them. It's diving for plants and algae, coming up and then just feeding the chicks on the water.
In Germany, most of the observation huts are a little bit further away from the water. Usually you don't get a lot of great angles, but here the observation huts are so close to the water, that's really cool.
In the distance, Martinez saw something land in a tree, and suddenly there was great excitement.
We actually just spotted my favorite bird ever, the peregrine falcon. It landed pretty far away, high up in a tree, but we managed to capture it, and it turned out to be a peregrine falcon.
It's a peregrine. Yeah, I can see the white cheeks.
Amazing.
Fantastic.
Toll.
Oh my God.
Turtles. Auf dem Baum stehen. Auch eine Kolbenente. Ja, das ist das Küken. Also links ist das Küken und rechts ist der Altvogel.
Just as we were about to move on, I spotted a family of coots in the reeds. And we were both somewhat fascinated by the fact that the chicks of these black and white birds are so colorful. As we continued walking, we even found the peregrine falcon again. Or what we thought was a peregrine falcon.
All right, so we were actually wrong. We thought we took some photos of a peregrine falcon, but
It was not a peregrine.
it wasn't.
No, you even commented and said it looked quite dark. And then we took some more pictures of it as it was flying overhead, and it had a streaky white and dark belly, and we were
Yeah,
like, this is a
and
Eurasian
those-
hobby, which is very exciting actually.
Yeah, I've never seen one before,
I have
so
never seen one.
I will take that as well.
Exactly. We'll take what we get.
Yeah,
Wildlife.
no complaints here, but we wanted to correct ourselves. Oh, Sturzflug.
Der fängt Insekten in der Luft.
And although we had a healthy respect for hornets, we couldn't miss the chance to take a photo on an occasion like that. After already being out and about for 9 hours, we arrived at the last location of the day, the Kingfisher Observation Hide. Although there were no kingfishers there that day, we could relax and sit down for a while, enjoying and observing nature. Besides the Canada goose family, we also spotted a few terns flying over the water. We had to act quickly because they disappeared as fast as they had arrived.
All right, we're calling it a day, but tomorrow morning we will try to find some more owls. But for today, we were successful enough. So see you guys tomorrow.
The next morning, I checked out of the hotel and made my way to Martino one last time so we could end the trip the same way it had started, with an eagle owl nest. to make sure these birds keep the peace and quiet they deserve. I won't show any footage of the surrounding area, so just sit back and enjoy the following clips. And suddenly everything happened quickly. For a brief moment, one of the parent birds came to the nest. We were incredibly lucky. We waited a little longer to see if they would return, but eventually decided to leave. We had already packed everything up when Martina spotted something in a tree across from the nest.
Alright, so this is my last morning here in Luxembourg, and as a highlight we got to watch some eagle owls, actually with a nest and some chicks.
And in the end, we also spotted the eagle owl sleeping in the tree and enjoying the first sun rays of the day.
Yeah.
It was quite spectacular.
That was amazing, and it's such a great way to end this trip. And with this highlight, I will actually end the video right here. As always, I hope you enjoyed watching and have a great day. See you soon. Bye.
Now a cup of coffee.
Now a cup of coffee.